Alright, welcome back. In this video, I am going to talk about what are called US and metric equivalents, meaning going essentially back and forth between the two different systems, showing where they have fluid connections or equivalent ideas. The biggest place where we see equivalence between the US and metric systems has to deal with temperature. So for example, in US the measure is usually Fahrenheit, but in metric system it would be Celsius. Therefore, when we think about things like, say, water freezing, a US measurement would say that it freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. However, for the Celsius system, that would be at 0 degrees Celsius. Now, we've got the same differences at water boiling. Okay, so water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. The same differences appear again when we're talking about body temperature. Now, on average, we might see body temperature to be 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, which on average is 37 degrees Celsius. Now, we actually have a formula that we can use that allows us to go back and forth. So first of all, if we want to find Fahrenheit, but we've been given Celsius, we have two versions of the formula. We can do 1.8 C. C stands for the degrees in Celsius plus 32. Or, instead of using the decimal, we use the fraction 9/5 C plus 32. Now, if we want to find Celsius, but we've been given Fahrenheit, then we have 5 times your degree Fahrenheit minus 32, and then all over 9 as a result. Okay. So here, these first couple examples, we want to convert between the two different degrees, and then here we want to round to the nearest hundredth as needed. So I want to go from 25 degrees Celsius into Fahrenheit. So I'm going to use the Fahrenheit equation, and so we have 9/5 times 25 degrees Celsius plus my 32. So when you do that, you come out with Fahrenheit being 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the second one, I have 113 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm going to use my Celsius equation, which says I'm going to do 5 times 113 minus my 32 all over 9. And when we do that, we come out with 45 degrees Celsius. Now, the other way that you can see this is written as a sentence. And so here it says we want to change 41 degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius. So again, Celsius is going to be 5 times the 41 minus 32 all over 9. And so this is going to give me 5 degrees Celsius. So the biggest thing you have to just remember here is you have to remember which formula you're using in order to change from which degree temperature. Okay. Now the other thing that we have is we have just some generalized ideas for length, capacity, and weight. So notice these are a little bit different than some of the normals. And so here we're going to look at some examples of just simply going back and forth between the two systems to perform these calculations. So for example, this first one, we're going to go from meters to feet. So we're going from the metric into the US system. So we're talking about length. So we want to look up here and see if there's a conversion that goes from feet to meters, and there is. So I'm going to start with my 2 meters, and then I know that 1 foot is the same as 0.305 meters. In looking at that, my meters are going to cancel and leave my feet behind, which is what I wanted. So I'm going to end up with this being 2 over 0.305, and this is feet. So when I do that, you end up with 6.56 feet. Alright, let's look at another one. Here I have kilometers per hour, and I want to go over to miles per hour. So I got to start with what I have. So 100 kilometers, and this is per hour. And then I'm essentially looking at how to go from kilometers to miles. So again, I'm going to look back down, and I'm looking at kilometers in miles, and so here I have one. So we have that 1 mile is the same as 1.609 kilometers. So if we look, my kilometers are going to disappear, leaving me with miles per hour. So this is going to be the same as doing 100 divided by 1.609. And so when we do that, we come up with 62.15 miles per hour. Okay, let's do another one. I want to go from inches into millimeters, and so here what we have to look at is I'm going from inches, so I have inches to centimeters, and then I can go from centimeters into millimeters, because if you look down the list, I don't have any other conversion that I would want to use. I could potentially use inches to meters, so whichever one you choose to want to use is completely up to you, your choice. So here we're going to start with 0.25 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and use that there are 2.54 centimeters per inch. Once I'm in centimeters, I now have to get rid of centimeters. So I know that there is 0.01 meters per centimeter. And then with that, I also know that I have a millimeter to 0.001 meters. So if we look carefully, we have inches top and bottom, centimeters top and bottom, meters top and bottom, leaves me with the millimeters I want. So we're going to do 0.25 times 2.54 times 0.01, divide that all by 0.001, and this should come up with 6.35 millimeters. Alright, let's do another one. Here I have liters to gallons. So in this liters, I'm now talking about capacity. So I want to go liters to gallons, and I have a very nice conversion right here that says 1 gallon is the same as 3.785 liters. So I'm going to start with my liters. So I've got 42 liters. I then want my gallons, so I've got 1 gallon on top to my conversion, 3.785 liters. When I do that, notice my liters are going to totally disappear here, leave me with just my gallons, and so we come out with 11.09. Continuing on our path of conversions here, I've got 20 quarts, so I'm going to start with the 20 quarts. And then I have to look at where to go from there. So I want liters. So if I come back up and look, notice the very top one here is a quarts to liter conversion. So 1 quart is 0.946 liters. So I have 0.946 liters to 1 quart. In looking at it, this means my quarts are going to go away. and we are going to come out with 18.92. Okay, next I have 35 ounces to grams. Now, don't get tricked. This ounce that we're talking about here is a weight. Now, the way that I know that is because grams is a weight. So the one thing that's never going to change is you are never going to go from, say, length to a liquid. So whatever we're doing, if we're in the length category, you're going to stay within the length category. If we're in capacity, we're talking about liquids, then we're going to stay within liquids. We're not going to convert between them. And so here, because we're talking about grams, we're talking about weight. So we need to use this top idea, which says that 1 ounce is the same as 28.35 grams. So I have 35 ounces. And I'm going to multiply that by the 28.35 grams per 1 ounce conversion. So here in this case, my ounces are going to go away, and that is going to leave me with 992.25 grams. Okay, let's look at a couple more. So I'm going to go ahead and leave my conversion tables here. So for this one, I want to go from 95 kilograms to pounds. So again, I'm still over here in my weight, and I want kilograms to pounds. So this bottom one down here is a 1 kilogram to 2.205 pounds. But notice I also have a second, where 1 pound is the same as 0.454 kilograms. So whichever one you choose to use is personal preference and totally up to you. I am starting with 95 kilograms. So essentially, kilograms is in the bottom, so what you have to decide is, do you want to multiply your problem or divide it? I'm big on multiplying, so I would use the bottom one here, which gives me 1 kilogram to a certain value of pounds, as opposed to the other one, which would mean a division. So here, this is going to be my 2.205 pounds to 1 kilogram. Again, my kilograms now are going to completely cancel, and this is going to leave me with 209.48 pounds. Alright, now here I've got fluid ounces to milliliters. So notice fluid ounces is a capacity, it is a liquid. And we're going to go from fluid ounces to milliliters, so my conversion is right here on the bottom. So we're going to start with 15 fluid ounces. And when we do that, I want milliliters. So here this is going to be 29.57 milliliters per 1 fluid ounce. My fluid ounces are going to cancel out and leave just behind my milliliters. So when I multiply these two together, I come out with 443.55 milliliters. Now last I have cc's to milliliters. So here we need to remember the rule, which says that 1 milliliter is the same as 1 centimeter cubed, which is the same as 1 cc. Therefore, if I have 91 cc's, it means that I have 91 milliliters. Now last, we can also do all of this out of a word problem. So here I'm making a large pot of soup, and the recipe calls for 2 liters of vegetable stock. If the only cans of stock available hold 10 fluid ounces, how many cans will you need? So what do we want? Well, here we want to know the number of cans. What do we know? Well, we know the following. We need 2 liters of stock, and the cans are 10 fluid ounces. So in other words, I have to figure out how many cans by getting rid of all of my units. So I'm going to start with my 2 liters. And then I also know that my cans are 10 fluid ounce, so each can is 10 fluid ounces. Now I need to work to get rid of my liters. So if I look at my capacity chart, I have a fluid ounce to milliliters down here on the bottom. So I want to use that. So I'm going to use that 1 fluid ounce. So 1 fluid ounce is the same as 29.57 milliliters. So in looking at that, this means my fluid ounce is going to cancel, but now I have liters and milliliters. So all I need to do is run my conversion there. So I know that I have 1,000 milliliters per liter. Means my milliliters is going to go, my liters is going to go, and the only thing that's left is my can. So here, this is going to give me 2 times 1,000 divided by my 10 times the 29.57, and this is cans. So when we do that math, we are going to end up with roughly 6.76. However, you cannot have part of a can, therefore you need to buy 7 cans of stock. So there you have it. That is, in a nutshell, everything that you would need to know about being able to go back and forth between the US and the metric system. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.